Hey, you need to get your act together for 2017, and my guest tonight will help you with that.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
You need to be nourished. You need to be smart. You need to make a resolution stick for more than 3 days. The gyms are full. Nobody's. I was at the bar last night with a couple of my buddies, and I'm drinking water, and they're drinking water. It's like, the card game was very sober because no one can put another beer in their system, and everyone's got a plan for 3 days or 3 weeks or 3 months, baloney, to get their act together. My guest will tell you what the right way and the wrong way is, and she got me together for 2016, sort of. She'll get you together for 2017. Don't go anywhere. Nice to have you aboard. Thanks for tuning in, and I will say Happy New Year again because I think it's appropriate, at least for the balance of the week. Let's go to the rundown and figure out what's going on in the world. Divided on security. Yeah, if you watch this thing today, I think you'd have some real grounded opinions about what's happening. Here's some of the headlines. Senate hearing on Russian hacking. Trump criticism of intelligence dominates the hearing, and it did. There's James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, who's trying to deftly work through all of this and more headlines and the like. Why don't we let CBS tell you what happened today?
Mike Rogers,
U.S. intelligence officials told lawmakers today that Russia's cyber hacking is a major threat to the government and military.
Russia has clearly assumed an even more aggressive cyber posture by increasing cyber espionage operations, leaking data stolen from these operations, and targeting critical infrastructure systems.
President-elect Donald Trump has repeatedly cast doubt on the intelligence community's conclusion that Russia tried to influence the presidential election. And now CBS News has learned Mr. Trump is considering overhauling some U.S. intelligence agencies, including scrapping the position of Director of National Intelligence. After today's hearing, Clapper and other high-level intelligence officials will head to New York to brief President-elect Trump on Friday.
they're not sure. They're fighting among themselves. They're not sure.
Mr. Trump has claimed the various intelligence agencies have not been on the same page.
Given some of the intelligence failures of recent years, the president-elect's made it clear to the American people that he's skeptical about conclusions.
Congress created the Director of National Intelligence after 9/11 to address criticism that the CIA and FBI were not sharing information.
You know, if Mike Pence wasn't dragged into this campaign, he never would have said something like that, ever, in a transition. Ever. The soul selling that Mike Pence has done in this election season is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look, reorgs of any effort are always something we ought to be open to. You know, intelligence, remanufacturing that whole situation, okay. Getting rid of the Director of National Intelligence, well, the way Trump behaves, like a 4-year-old sometimes, after what Clapper had to say today, he'll probably pop him as soon as he gets in. Then again, he'll be gone because he's retiring. But you understand, he'll fire the position rather than the guy just to get back at whoever said what from that position. The bottom line here is that we got to be open to Donald Trump's rethinking on this, and hopefully he'll be guided by people who are sane. In the meantime, you got to pay attention to what's going on here so that you can differentiate between whether you ought to pay attention to a tweet or a full report on the health and welfare of this country. It's your call. Let's move on to what's happening here in town. There's a really interesting political dynamic involved at the State House now as a new study comes up on driving while illegal. Of course, we don't use illegal as a term because it's not politically correct, at least in a headline. And frankly, I don't use it that much anymore. We have more headlines, Jess? A couple more? Yeah. Oh, here's an excerpt of the story where Governor Raimondo is talking about a comprehensive report here from Roger Williams University, which, surprise, says, you know what, we ought to license undocumented people, illegal aliens, however you'd like to say it. I infuriate some of you here and on the radio by suggesting that this is probably something we should do. Now, I know there are a lot of folks who think that I've had a lobotomy and gone left on too many issues. But I ask you to think about the practical nature of having unlicensed, uninsured drivers all over Kingdom Come and what it does to our own health, safety, welfare, and all of that. If you take the emotion and the talk radio drivel out of "get rid of the aliens," and you actually think about the practicality of this, you may have a different thought. But because you are like about this, you're driving the neuroses at the State House. The Speaker of the House was on Newsmakers, and he reflects it.
If you talk to my colleagues in the House of Representatives, I think you will find that overwhelmingly they would say no, please stay away from the issue. And I think that's from the fact that they reflect the will of their constituents. So
you don't think it would have the votes?
Oh, it would not have the votes.
It's not just the speaker's blocking.
Oh, no, absolutely not. If you poll that room today, I mean, absolutely, overwhelmingly would not have the votes.
Okay.
And that's because the representation in the House, and the Senate for that matter, reflects the will of the people of the state of Rhode Island.
What polling data do they have? Did we miss that, Lex? Was there polling data? There's no polling data. And the room, I love it. Here's the flip side. Well, the good and the bad of this. The conversation is not that high level. Until Donald Trump made immigration a big thing, it was like 12th on the list of important concerns for Americans. If you're a talk radio listener, and that's, you know, a principled, I should say, a high component of media here in this community, you'd think that it was the only issue, at least for some programs. The truth of the matter is that most people, when it's laid out for them, go, oh, okay, that seems to make some sense. At the same time, the people of the State House will suggest that they never listen to places like talk radio and how that media kind of drives some conversation. Oh, I never listen to that stuff. That's the driving force behind this paranoia at the State House, because there is no polling data that reflects that people would stand up and go nuts over the idea that undocumented citizens, undocumented people were actually issued driver's licenses, which then made us safer and maybe our insurance rates went down. Does that make any sense? Cool heads sometimes are required. I think she's got a pretty cool head, and now she's got a pretty cool financial portfolio. Woo! Reportedly, it's more than Katie Couric was getting. And that was $20 million in old dollars. Good for her. You know, she stood up to a lot of folks there at that network, and now she's going to be NBC's journalistic darling. And now, the replacement for Fox, competent, smart. I like him. He won't carry the weight, and Fox is going to be in trouble. That's my prediction. What do I know? I've only been around the business for a few years. I'm just a lowly guy in Providence, just trying to make a living. And trying to stay in shape, which, as you can see by looking at the television, not getting it done. But I'm trying. Nourished, you should be. Here's the website. Katie's back to tell me to eat my greens. How do you make a transition from that to you?
That was smooth.
It was?
It was.
Not really. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
It's great to have you back.
I'm happy to be here.
Did you have a good 2016?
No. There was lots of good, but there were some, my mother-in-law passed away. There were some challenges of the year.
I'm sorry.
So I'm ready to let go of 2016 and ready to embrace 2017. Absolutely. I'm done. Did I baffle you?
No, I'm just reflective on it. I think that, you know, I'm always sad when people lose people. But you are somebody who I perceive to have their act together. So is the mourning process more manageable when you've got your foundation?
You know, I've got really good habits in place, but we all have the fantasy that everybody else has their act together, right? We know our inner world, and we compare our inner world to everybody's outer world, and we always feel less than somehow. So, yeah, I got a lot of good things in place. I've got a lot of family to support me, and I have a lot of habits that keep me strong and resilient. And they are around food, it's around time, and it's around thoughts. And those three areas are how I serve my client, and really making sure that they have a sense of mastery over those areas, because life is hard. And there are going to be years that are more challenging than others, days that are certainly more challenging than others. And we need to put these habits in place on the days that are great and the days that aren't, because the days that aren't are going to come, and we need to be at our best.
And some of the new ways of treating yourself, I guess, will at least help you through the difficult times. Look, I mean, how many times have we been stressed at the work, on the job, with relationships? God forbid someone's sick, you're sick, and/or you lose somebody that you love. Gives you a real excuse to really dig into a complete bag of potato chips.
Oh yeah, no question.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, what happens is we get challenged, life is hard, and the first thing we do is abandon ourselves. And the reality is that's when we need to step up for ourselves. We need to have our backs at that time. And the more that we have habits in place that are continually kind of the infrastructure, they're the spine of our days, it really will give us the ability to tackle whatever comes our way.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear your news, but it was an important thing to kind of start off with, I think. When we come back, we'll take a look at this concept of resolutions and what the realities are for all of us. Stay with us. All right. January brings a whole new set of thoughts, resolutions. Roll tape.
It never fails in the first week of the new year. The gyms are full, and so are expectations.
I'm just going to try to do portion control and stop the sugary drinks.
Cutting back on wine, that was a little bit of a vice for me.
I don't think I'm going to make it a resolution because I never stick to them.
Resolutions are dangerous, according to therapist Jamie LaBeouf. Her practice at the Christian Counseling Center also gets busier this time of year. Her advice: set goals, not resolutions.
Goal setting is different. Goal setting is very forward-looking, and it says, in a year from now or in 6 months from now, what do I want to be different from what it is today?
That way, you can create a roadmap to your own success, a plan with specific benchmarks. Write down your goals to make sure they're measurable and attainable. Use social media to keep you honest.
I vow to be a kinder, better person.
This year I really want to focus on giving back to people.
While very respectable, those goals are vague.
Vague goals lead to vague results, and we really don't get anywhere with that.
As a regular contributor to Red Stick Mom's blog, LaBeouf has some more advice. Her latest post talks about moving on from the holidays. Many of us build up expectations for a magical and perfect season. Then real life happens.
Sometimes we go into January having those unfulfilled expectations, and we feel empty, we feel lonely, we feel frustrated, maybe even a little depressed.
She suggests leaving family drama in the past. Focus on what you can control, and remember that hardships can eventually make relationships stronger.
Can you be more patient? Can you be more loving? Could you maybe be a little more flexible in the relationship?
Finally, don't be afraid to ask for help. A counselor's goal is to figure out where you want to be, then help you get there.
All right, Katie. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Actually, I think there's some really great points there. The thing is, we set these resolutions, we set these goals, and then we forget about them. So my point is, how do they have legs? How do they live and breathe on a daily basis? And so that comes down to habits. So let's say you want to start an exercise routine. It's like, great, okay, I want to get in shape. What does that mean? First defining it, and then saying, okay, well, how is that going to show up in my daily calendar, my weekly calendar? And that's what we can track.
Define it?
Okay, well,
I want to get in shape.
I want to get in shape.
Pretty
what does that
simple.
mean for you?
Oh.
You want to be ripped, right?
Oh.
You could have all different things. I want to be shape. I want to be able to hike across, this mountain and not be too breathless. It can be all different things. We can define. Yeah, define it. What does it mean for you?
Okay.
Right? Or people say, I want to be healthy. Great. What does that mean? Because we all define it differently. And then the next step is, okay, what does that mean? That means that 4 times a week I'm going to go to the gym. Or 4 times a week I'm going to go for a walk. That would be the first thing. And what day am I going to do it on those 4 days? How long am I going to do it? Really getting some traction behind it, because otherwise it's just a wish.
I think that makes sense. A purposefulness is important, correct?
Absolutely.
So you have to say, instead of, I want to get my in shape, I want to be able to do something or look somehow.
So you commit to the
or
habits.
wear a certain size pair of slacks.
Well, you commit to the habits that will get you to where you want to go. So you set the goal, and then you say, what habits do I need to have in place to get that
Do we all
goal?
know how to establish the game plan, or we need help with that?
Well,
that's where you come in.
That's where I come in.
Yeah.
I mean, my clients are really taking care of everything really well, at the expense of themselves a lot of times. They get lost in, like we talked about before, when we're stressed, when we've had a challenging year, we forget ourselves.
There are people who do a lot for everybody. Parents, bosses, they do everything for everybody and don't do much for themselves.
And I think they're selfish.
What do you mean?
I think that's selfish.
What
I
is?
think it's selfish to take care of everything and everyone and forget ourselves. Because we can give when we are replenished. When we're nourished, we're in a better position
Wait a second.
to serve everyone else.
It's selfish to think about everybody else and not yourself?
Yeah. It's our job.
Why isn't that selfless?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The selfless people are not serving the world from a place of abundance. They're not bringing their best to the world. They're depleted. They're resentful a lot of times, which they won't own. And that's usually a sign when we're resentful that we're doing too much and giving too much.
So people who do so much for everyone else and develop a reputation for that secretly walk around all PO'd about it. Is that what you're telling me?
I can't say what they're secretly doing. What I can say is that we have a responsibility as human beings to be at our best. And that requires daily maintenance like we do with our cars. We get, we take better care of our cars like we talked about before than we do ourselves. It's our job to show up for ourselves so that we in turn can give in the way that only we can.
You can't love others until you love yourself?
Yeah, but it's even more, it's
Sort
along
of.
that line. But we have a responsibility to the world, to ourselves, to be at our best. And that starts with what we eat, what we think, and where we invest our time.
It's kind of like when you're on the airplane and then they say, put the mask on first before you put on somebody
right.
else. That kind of
Right.
thing.
How helpful are you going to be if you're out of oxygen? Not going to work. So it's time that we really step up. And January is a perfect time. It's like a blank slate. It's all exciting. But how do we keep? Because commitment is after the excitement and the motivation has faded. That's what we want. We want to be able to show up even when we don't feel like it. And we do that when we have a system and structure in place to hold us accountable to ourselves. Or in my case, my clients, I hold them accountable to the life they say they want.
You're tough.
A lot of love. A lot of love, Dan.
You smile when you say you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself, you fool!
No, I meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're just not being real with ourselves.
You do resolutions?
I set goals. I do for the year. And then I set a plan to put it in place.
I was thinking about it just during that package. I have one 4-year resolution that stayed intact. I have one 1-year resolution for the most part that stayed intact. And I almost pulled off the full Monty on another. And then I've failed miserably at a resolution that I have made for the last 10 years.
Care to share?
When we come back. Here's the website. Go to it. Go to it. Go to it. It's bnourished, and the information comes up on the screen. And by the way, if you miss anything, foxprovidence.com is where we link everybody on this show that needs some networking. Katie McDonald is in the business of making you well. All right, so 4 years ago, New Year's resolution, I said I'm not drinking any soda anymore. No carbonation. Used to give me chest pains.
Yeah?
Done.
No more chest pains.
Craved a Coke this last couple of weeks. I was like, got by it.
So you white-knuckled it.
But you know what? I measured, it didn't make me feel good anymore. Right? So, okay.
So that's it. You paused and you reflected about what you were doing automatically, and you decided to make a deliberate choice.
Okay,
so
I did that.
Yeah.
Greens. You got me on this. So my daughter thinks that I'm embarrassing. Thank God she's out of the house more than she's in the house. You know, I'm a quasi-empty nester now. But the other day she says, "Dad, you are a disgusting rabbit." I mean, if I
disgusting rabbit.
Katie got me convinced that I need my greens. So I don't start the day without my greens.
I love it.
Guess what? Sometimes there's no time. So I look around, my wife's not there, my daughter's not there, I think, but they're watching. I open up the fridge, I literally grab some spinach and go. Now, I know you do like that.
I love that you're eating your leafy greens.
Well, just to get them in.
Yeah.
Sometimes your resolution doesn't have to be pretty. Why I'm telling you all this, I have no idea. This is embarrassing to me. And late night eating.
Okay, so what's the one you haven't?
Last night I said, you know what, I'm gonna get my. But I was so bothered by not keeping the resolution. So if you're hungry, just have some tea.
Yeah.
And You know what? Because you feel so much better the next day. And I didn't diet all year long.
Yeah.
People say, boy, you lost some weight. And I lost about 20 pounds over 2016 just making those decisions. So how about that?
It's the small changes. I mean, here's the
But
thing.
the holidays probably put 4 or 5 pounds back on. So,
it's okay. That's all right.
They don't count, right?
You know what? Well, they do count. Because a lot of times what we do is we'll party hard. We'll say, oh, it's vacation, it's this, it's that, right? And we forget that sense of a future self, right? Every day we want to make a decision where we're consulting our future self, because whatever choice we make today is the one we're paying for tomorrow.
10 years ago, I said to myself, I'm going to become fluent in Spanish.
Is that the one you haven't gotten to yet? So why? Why haven't you
I
gotten
don't
there?
know. I need some therapy. I believe that I'll be a better broadcaster if I'm more fluent in Spanish. Not because I'm some immigration, everyone knows, oh, just, especially with my driver's license speech right there. You know, I just think that times are changing. It's a good thing to be fluent in Espanol.
So
it's good for market share. It's good for all of that. But I can't get to it.
Okay, so here's the thing.
How do I do it?
You either decide right now, it continues to be, you get to evaluate, do I still want this goal? Is it still important to me? Okay, so it's non-negotiable, it's going to happen. The question is how. So we know what the what is. We know the why, right? But now it's the how. So one of the ways that we could do it is get some books on audible.com. And you could listen to it on the car ride.
Yeah.
Listen to a Spanish-speaking station on the way in. Surround yourself with it. Go to a Spanish-speaking restaurant, right? One step.
Yeah, because my wife is sick of me saying, no habla español muy bien.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing I remember from high school.
Yeah. So
I studied en la escuela
right
secundaria. I remember that. I studied in high school. I mean, that's all I can do.
Right. So that's just a tape that's playing, and we're just stopping that tape.
Right.
It's not helpful.
Okay.
Right? It's not propelling you
The
forward.
only reason I offered my examples to you is because you might have your own, and it's all the same. It's everything is the same process, correct?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. We bring ourselves to it, right?
All right. Bottom line wish for people in 2017, amidst the turmoil of the election and blah, 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 and da-da-da, and how they treat themselves is what?
Stop over-functioning for everyone else and underperforming for yourself. How's that?
Did you get that? Stop over-performing for everyone else. That goes back to that whole selfless, selfish thing.
Yeah. So it's you take care of you for me, and I'll take care of me for you. How's that?
That's it.
That's pretty deep. That's profound. It's easy to say. Actually, it's a little tricky to say, but it's hard to implement because we're not wired that way.
And when the people around you start to notice that you're taking care of yourself a little bit more, will they react well?
Well, if it impacts them, they're going to be a little feisty. And when that happens, it's great news. That means you're making progress.
Mom, how come you're not making my lunch every day?
Boundaries
well,
are
Mom went to the gym.
Yeah, boundaries are uncomfortable for other people because they've been serving them well. But that's an indication that you're on the right path.
Any thoughts on leadership?
That was the highlight of last year was Leadership Rhode Island. That was...
Oh, you did that?
I did.
That's another show.
You'll
have to come in and talk about that.
It was all about leadership in our own lives.
You got something from it?
A tremendous amount.
You know?
Yeah.
Did you take some notes?
I did.
All right, come back. We'll talk about that. Good to see you.
Nice
Happy New
seeing
Year.
you too, and to you.
Final word to tell you about what's up tomorrow night when we come back. Stay with us. My guest just asked me, what's my word for 2017 during the break? That's what I mean. She says, you got to work on a word, and it better be Spanish. I'm like, oh, okay. So we'll see next year when I bring Katie on, God willing, we're all here and everything's good, whether or not I got there. And so work on yourself. Be good to yourself so you can be good to others. Did you get that point? Good. You watch talk shows, right? You're watching this. One of the top producers in the world for talk shows will be my guest tomorrow. Her book is called Yappy Days. Get it? And we'll have a nice, comfortable conversation with Bernadette Harrison tomorrow night. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow at 3 till 6 on WPRO. Thanks for watching. Good night.